Hey, it's Mike Andrew here, your Vancouver property finder with today's video blog. Topic is the legal aspects of making a home purchase. We're going to be visiting with Ron Usher of BellAlliance, who is going to share with us what your experience might be like in visiting the lawyer. I'll pass it over to Ron.
What can I help you with?
Well, why don't you just cover off for our viewers the types of things first-time buyers experience when they come to you.
Sure, because often it's, for many people, it's the first time they've been to a lawyer's office. So that alone is an unusual event for most people, and it's the way they get introduced to the world of law through their real estate practice. Typically, we get involved firstly with a call from the realtor or the client saying, I bought a house, subjects are removed, now what do I do? So typically, for that first-time buyer, we'll spend some time, typically 10 minutes or so on the telephone usually. So these days, often the communication is by email, but often it starts with a phone call. And in that 10 minutes, we'll collect a bunch of information, assist them in making some legal decisions that aren't made on the real estate form. So for example, discussions, how are you going to own the property? Equally, these legal words like joint tenants and tenants in common, which of course would be a mystery to any first-time buyer, but they do require some explanation. So typically we try and sort all that out in the first call. We'll talk about their mortgage financing, how that's going to work. And so get contact information. We'll talk about adjustments. And again, things that are referred to in the real estate contract, but the details aren't there. What's going to happen with the payment of city taxes? And depending on the time of year, that can become a complex thing. But again, that's our problem to sort that out. It's also our job, of course, to answer people's questions about that. Because what the number one thing every first-time buyer wants to know is, what's the bottom line? How much money and am I going to need to bring in, and how am I going to know how much money to bring? I know that I've made a deposit, I've got a mortgage, but there's other costs to pay. And obviously, we're going to take a look at what are the tax savings. You know, do you qualify as a first-time home buyer? Are you going to be eligible to get the brand new federal government first-time home buyer credit? Are you going to be using money from your RSP now that the withdrawal limit's gone up to $25,000? So we want to nail all that stuff down, typically in that first telephone call, exchange of emails. Once we know what's basically going on, the real estate firm and the mortgage company will fax us all the information or email it to us. And then we start on the process of gathering and organizing the information. So really our job is a gathering information job. It's organizing it, and then producing, as you might expect, a bunch of paper, some of which is for the vendor to sign, much of which relating to the financing is for the purchaser to sign, and reduce it all down to specifics. So we start off with I want to buy the condo, and it's our job to turn that down to the exact penny of what's going to be required to do it. That document is called the Statement of Adjustments. And so that's it shows you exactly where the money is coming from and where it's going to be spent. The bottom line of that is the balance to close. That's what we're going to need, and typically people bring it with them to our interview. So we've had an initial phone discussion, usually some emails exchanged throughout the course of the process. We're going to have an appointment, 30, 40, 50 minutes, depending on the mortgage company they're using, depending on their questions. And often first-time buyers have lots of questions. You know, you put 40 pages of paper in front of somebody, they're going to want to know what's going on. And then the money changes hands at that. So at that point, typically the day or two before the completion date, we'll meet with them, go over everything, sign it all up. The next day the property's yours.
Terrific. It's as simple as that.
It's as simple as that. Well, it looks simple, of course, and one of the things you have to remember as a professional, as a lawyer, as a realtor, what looks simple to us, because we've done it so many times, of course, is not that way. And it's completely obvious to me that any first-time buyer is going to have lots of questions. I mean, they like the comfort of dealing with someone with experience, but they're not. Second or third time you buy a home, it all looks pretty straightforward. But you know, we have no problem with the questions. There's lots of videos on our website, pretty soon available through BATV.ca or BellAlliance.ca. So you can always go there and get information, but of course you can call anytime.
Sure. And the phone number?
604-873-8723 in Vancouver. Thanks for your time, Mike.
Thank you.